So we'll now move forward to item number 8, Torrance County Fairboard. We'll begin with letter A, agreement.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, we probably need a little help with this item. We had a special meeting on the 26th of September, which you guys now have the minutes for. If you want to go back and read through those minutes, that might be a good idea. Annette and I just figured out kind of some talking points that the Commission might want on the agenda to discuss the Fair Board. So this is really, I don't know how you guys want to proceed with this.
And I would point out, I think that we published this as a joint meeting, so probably Fair Board ought to go ahead and convene their meeting.
It doesn't appear that they have a quorum.
They don't have a quorum.
Oh, they don't
There's
have
two
a
members
quorum.
here.
So they can't take any action. So I think what I would ask you to do is go ahead and convene and then announce on the record that you don't have a quorum, so you can't take any action. If you don't mind doing that.
No, I don't mind that.
Torrance County Fairboard will call meeting to order. We do not have a quorum at this time. There's just two of us,
There's two members.
two members.
And you need five.
Yeah,
Or
four.
four.
Yes, sir.
It's five. If you have a 9-member board, you need 5 members.
Okay, sorry.
So the Fair Board can't take any action today in this meeting, but the Board of Commissioners can consider, and this is an action item to take it to the Board of
It
Commissioners.
is, but the Fair Board did
We
have a
already,
meeting.
we already had our meeting where we did agree to merge with the county or go under the county, from one with the county, however you want to put it.
Okay, so you can report that to the
Yes,
Commission.
yes, we did. We did take a vote and it was unanimous that we go under the county or dissolve the board completely and have the board, the commissioners appoint us.
Okay, thank you.
Jada,
Yes, sir.
did you guys also agree to go to a 5-member?
Yes, sir.
Okay, at your meeting,
Yes, sir.
okay.
And that is reflected in your minutes?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President, for being here today. Looking over the minutes, I guess there may have been, excuse me, a confusion on my part. I know that we have to do an agreement, organization, and appointment process, but I had received a few calls from people asking what they needed to do if they wanted to be considered for the board. And I thought that we had talked about having letters of interest submitted to us by the 10th and then an appointment by the 24th, which is our next meeting. Was I incorrect in remembering those dates?
Well, Madam Chair, I believe you are correct that we had asked letters of interest be submitted and that we consider and then report by the 24th. Is that what you just said?
Yes, sir, and I don't see that reflected in the minutes, but I do know that it was videotaped. But I don't see the letters actually present in the packet. Did we receive any other than, well, we did receive one from Ms. Shiver. We received a resignation letter from Mr. Rye and Mr. Mayberry. Commissioner Tapia, what do you recall? Do you remember those dates?
Did we put it in the newspaper? Because that was the discussion. I believe that the discussion was that we were to decide if this is the route you wanted to go, take action on it, and then decide a process for appointment, which would include a publication in the paper and requesting letters of interest. That's what I told the Fair Board members and other interested parties that called me, because I didn't see the reflection of the dates in there. So I told them that I was hoping the commission would decide how they wanted to move forward with this meeting. I did receive a letter of interest from Ms. Corliss, Mr. McGee, and those are the only two that I've received that are not in the packet.
I believe now that you state that, Joy, I believe that was correct, that we would agree as to which way to go with it.
That's what I was,
And so.
because we still needed to get it in the newspaper. There wasn't enough time between our last meeting and this meeting to get it published.
And at the last meeting, there was no action taken as to whether the commission was appointing a board
know what direction we were going.
So do we need to make a motion then to appoint a Torrance County Fairboard, a 5-member board, and that all letters of interest be submitted by the 24th for consideration?
We can do that. I have a question. I've received a couple of emails regarding the agreement that the county has with the Fair Board, asking or pointing out that the county is either the termination clause, and I guess I should go get it. I'm sorry, I don't have it with me, but the termination clause in the agreement with the Fair Board states that either party may terminate this agreement in writing 30 days prior. So I had questions from the public and from one Fair Board member as to why the county was not following our own agreement. I told them, and I think I copied you on a couple of those emails, that my assumption is that the county would vote, if they decided to absorb the board, that they would vote to terminate that agreement. But that hasn't been done as of yet.
What's your advice?
I'm sorry, I didn't see those emails if I got them right, or I don't remember seeing them. And I don't have the agreement in front of me, but if the termination clause says that we need to give 30 days notice, then we need to give notice that we're doing that. But that does not mean that you can't go forward with approving or approving a procedure for appointing the new board. My memory from the last meeting is that there was a discussion about a 5-member board with one alternative. And then one of the things that you were going to talk about, as I recall, is whether or not to make those appointments based on districts. And as you have with the P&Z board, that's to my memory where it was left. So that's really all your discretion.
Thank you, Council. That was also my question. One of my questions is that we would have to dissolve what we currently have. So whether we made a motion to dissolve or a motion to abide by the agreement and give the 30 days, so that we would be in compliance. Commissioner Freiberger, I know that you kind of restated what in regards to the dates, but I stand by those dates because I do remember us saying the 10th and the 24th, even though I know that procedurally we should abide by our agreement, make sure that we have an adequate publication process so that people have an opportunity to be considered for the board. But those were actually the dates that were, we put those dates out there. So to the people that I said, please submit your letters by the 10th, I stand by that only because that's what we stated at the time, even though we didn't make any formal motions. So
I would point out one other thing when I went to look at the agreement. But generally, a termination clause is effective for a unilateral termination. So if one party or the other wants to terminate, they have to give notice. In a situation under contract law where both parties agree to waive that, and it sounds like the Fair Board has agreed to come under the auspices of the county and reduce its number to 5, I think that we can consider that a waiver of that termination clause, and we can go ahead and terminate. Let me look at it, make sure I'm not there.
thank you. Okay, so we're now at the table. We can, please, commissioners, as you'd like to discuss, please do so.
I think we discussed the time constraints to be able to give ample time to form and to put the next fair on, and that we were kind of under a deadline to get members appointed where we could go ahead. And I know in the last commission meeting, we discussed about, not all of the Fair Board members worked as diligently as some of the others. So I kind of looked at it as maybe trimming the fat, down to where we could get a board that worked diligently and did what was best for the youth of this county. I still think with Madam Chair stating to have the letters in by the 10th, and then these letters coming in, and then giving a publication, we still could make a decision by the 24th to appoint a board, and at this meeting that we agree to appoint a board. Is that correct?
Yes, I think you should do two things in this meeting after looking at this. I think that you ought to move to terminate the prior board appointments, one. And then two, develop the process for appointing the future, if it's what you have just discussed, that's fine, but how do you do that? That's at your discretion.
Okay, thank you. So we could begin then with a motion to terminate the existing board. Or well, should we then begin to terminate the existing agreement?
I think terminate the,
Vacate the board.
terminate the appointments to the
Okay.
board.
Madam Chair, before you do that.
They're
I have a
elected.
question, or more like comment, food for thought. There was talk at the board meeting of one individual that turned in his letter of resignation, that he was going to put his letter in for letter of interest. My personal opinion is that if you turn your letter of interest, or your letter of resignation in, you don't need to put a letter of interest in right now. I mean, that's just my thinking. If you were opposed to going underneath the county and you put it in now, that's kind of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, contradicting your standings. So that's just my thought, just food for thought.
Finish?
A little more food for thought. If we publish in the local papers, that would be next Wednesday the 17th and Thursday the 18th is when it was published. That would only give them, I'm assuming you would do the deadline as the 23rd, so you can make your payments on the 24th. So that would only give you 4 to 5 days of it actually being out there and then
That's a good point.
making the deadline.
Thank you for that. Mr. McGee?
Linda Gage, board, Madam Chair. Another thing, food for thought, is we had members that stated last year that they had quit 4 or 5 times during the fair. And when we went up to proceed to do some of our work, we went to get this individual, and he said he couldn't do it because he had to take a nap. So I need to, that's another thing, food for thought. We're gonna have people on the board that's appointed, they need to be there, willing to work. Willing to, pull up their britches and go with it, put your big boy pants on. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
So you don't take 5 days for that?
That's
I think that's sufficient time to get it in the newspaper, we publish it. If they want to do it, they need to do it, they need to get it in.
Well, most people that know about it are already
They're gonna know. It's
Yeah.
out there, they know what they need to do, and the letters have to be in by the 23rd so that we can, so are we gonna ask them to, in publishing it in the newspaper, are we gonna ask that they be present on the 24th? So that they would actually come before us and
Sounds a question.
make their presentation to us why they want to be on? I mean,
That's your
is that
discretion.
something that we want to do? I think this is important enough that if we're gonna be appointing positions, I mean, seeing it on paper,
I agree with you. I think that's a great
I think
idea.
we need to have them in front of us so that we can question and get a feel for the personalities instead of just something on paper, because anybody can put anything on paper to make it sound good or look good, but to actually have them here,
I agree.
see the person, because we need to look at the personalities that we're
Right.
bringing together also. So I would just request that when we do the advertisement, that we make it very specific, that the letter of intent needs to be in by the 23rd, but they need to be present on the 24th for our meeting. If that's okay with.
And I agree with Commissioner Tapia that I believe to give a presentation to this commission as to the sincerity of wanting to serve on a board and work on a board. I believe is detrimental in appointing a board. I know we discussed also with the districts, I'm still in favor of appointing at large because of the people that want to serve on the board with a passion. Instead of trying to recruit somebody out of our district, I think that we can leave this appointment at more of an at-large appointment.
Well, and I don't know that we can go that route of the districts anyway, because according to what's stated is that you just have to live within the school district. So there's some people that are a part of the school district that live on, I mean, they're not, well, I guess they would still be in your district, but never mind, scratch that thought. I don't know where I was going with that.
You just got me
I'm
off.
just thinking-
Sorry. I was like, oh no.
No, sorry.
And part of me really does agree with you, Commissioner Freiberger, on that note, because you really want to not limit yourself as to bringing the best, most passionate, available people to serve. And then I know with George in the audience, she brought that to our attention last time of wanting to have people represented from each district, which, certainly is a very valuable resource to have when you're looking like at planning and zoning. But I feel like I don't want to limit ourselves, because I know for sure that there are people in my district that are going to apply, as I'm sure you guys know of people in your district as well. So I don't think that it would limit anybody from applying. So I'm kind of leaning in that direction.
I think for this particular board, we need to find people who have a passion for Torrance County kids, and that's what we need to be looking at.
Well, and as I said at the last commission meeting, when you're comparing the P and Z
They can bury
to
themselves.
the
I'm not gonna
county
say anything.
fairboard, it's comparing apple with oranges. With the P and Z, I can see that it needs to be equally represented all the way around the corner, because you're looking at more land uses than you are for the kids. And so I still stand by an at-large election, no matter where you're from. If you want to serve on the board for the county fair, then you need to have the passion and the diligence to work.
When we said that we needed to have ex officio members listed, they get a vote. So do you want it listed as ex officio? Because correct me if I'm wrong, when I had to look it up for argument's sake, they do get a vote.
As far as the extension agents?
Yeah, well, and I don't care if they're listed as ex officio, but I mean, that's, if they wanted to, they could vote, if how that's worded, correct?
Where did you get that information?
Off the internet, I Googled it,
Oh, just on ex officio?
yeah,
You shouldn't use
I'm
pen.
not gonna lie.
All right, I thought maybe there was some in the agreement that I
No,
don't know
no.
about. I think that that's at the discretion of the
Of the board, of
commission,
who's sitting there.
of the commission
Okay.
as well. But I'll verify that, because that could get you to a situation.
Yeah,
How many
that's
ex
where I was like, oh,
officio right now, you have one person from the extension
We
agency,
have-
and then each school
no,
district?
we have Karina Nish is listed,
Okay.
who's listed? We don't have anybody
There's
listed
no
right now.
ex officio
Because,
members now.
yeah, it was taken
The
out.
only way they were listed was in the fair book,
Right.
correct? It's not written.
It's not written in the agreement anywhere, I'm just asking.
I thought I had heard at the last meeting that it was all of the an ag teacher from each school district
And,
and
yes.
someone from the
And
extension.
that takes care of the district part, that's where the act teachers come in, or at the, or 4-H leaders per se. So, I mean, you can have voices from each district.
How
Yeah,
does,
you just,
how does their voting generally, I guess it hadn't been an issue because.
it hasn't, and it was at one meeting, and that's where some of the conflict started. And that's probably why you got the phone calls, because we told them they didn't have a vote and ruffled their feathers a little bit.
I would like them to have a vote.
You would.
So would that take?
Hey,
They should have clear and clear
Rose Lady, the
presentation
name
and
is still
honesty in all
Rose. Whether we
things.
call them ex officios or we call them advisors, I think when we're appointing 6 members, 5 on the county fair board and 1 alternate, that would be there, that would give ample people to vote. But I do believe that the county extension and the 4-H and whoever
Should have a say.
else should have an county advisory level. But I believe that the 5 members, that's what we're trying to get it down to,
Right.
is to where they would have the vote. Will the alternate be in for a member or not? You would still have the 5-member board.
Okay, that's my question.
Well, I think we should be very careful when we enter consideration of that, because maybe we should ask someone from the extension office why they feel they should have a vote instead of just deciding for them, because I think they're pretty passionate about their input into the board, and I don't want to make a decision without hearing from them as to why they feel like they should have a voice or a vote in that without them present. So either we can ask them to come or bring it up at a later time, but I think it's pretty important if we're going to change it. If they have always thought they had a vote but never exercised it, and then they did, and then it caused controversy, let's just address it now so that going forward, they're clear as to whether or not they have a vote or they're just advisory. But if they would like to advocate for having a voting position, I would like to give them that opportunity.
For the county extension agent, if memory serves me right, there's a statute but I'm going to have to look at the language. But I think statutorily in New Mexico, the county extension agency has some input into a fair board, and I'll verify that. But I think you're wise to not, at this point in time, say yes, they're totally advisory, or yes, they have a vote. Let me look at that statute.
I think that may be something that we could also, we're deciding on the county fair board at this meeting to go ahead and make the decision to advertise and get those letters of interest in. I think we could later, on the 24th, or maybe even at a later date than that, advise. One of the problems that we had at our last commission was the fact that some felt that the public was running the meeting, and that that might be where some of that animosity was created, or some of the questions. We had decided on a 5-member board to empower those members to make those decisions. And, I agree with council that we need to look at it carefully to see, but even if you're a county advisor or you're an ex officio, you still speak for the county, which I believe the extension agents would.
Yes, and I agree with them. There's a lot of wisdom coming from them. You can learn a lot, and if you have questions, you can ask them.
She must be in different meetings than I'm in.
So I would make the motion that we terminate the agreement that we have and vacate the present board, county fair board, in one motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. We do have a motion on the table. Before I call for a second, I know there's comment from Michael. Cody?
Michael Grady. Another possibility with the board is to have at least one from each district and have the other 2 or 3 alternate at large, and this way you would have representation from each district guaranteed without greatly limiting the quality of the people who come in.
Thank you. We'll take that into consideration.
So we've got a clear record. Could you repeat the motion, because I'm not sure I understood. Let's make sure that we've got it.
Well, you're lucky I haven't slept.
I know you said motion to vacate the existing board, but you said something before that.
To terminate, I just do not like the word to terminate the board. I would like to terminate the agreement that we have for the operation of the county fair board and vacate the present members.
I have a
Why?
question.
about that, just because the agreement is for the operation of the fairgrounds, correct?
Correct.
So, and the town is involved in that also, so that's where my confusion comes in.
Yeah. Why are we terminating the agreement to operate the fairgrounds? I guess I got.
I thought this was, what you said was, this is for the fairgrounds, and I thought it was the same thing for the fair board.
Well,
So it might have been my misunderstanding.
I think that the individuals who are questioning the termination clause of this agreement were assuming this was an agreement for the operation of the fair board.
Okay.
But because it's operation of the fairgrounds, that's my question to Dennis.
My recommendation is that you not terminate that agreement every time they do.
And that's between the fair board and the town, not the county and the town, correct? Well, they just terminate their agreement if they terminate the
In
agreement.
your first motion, and then
Idiots.
subsequently, a motion to appoint a 5-member board at large, I guess is what you're going to do, and then I'll look at the ex officio question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. I can't help but, I just really like to take input from the public, and when I'm looking out, I just look at faces, and I kind of see the Chavez family kind of almost looking in disgust at what we're trying to do. So I welcome you to bring your comments to the podium so that they can be considered, because we know you're very active in the actual fair. So please share your comments if you have any.
Well, the only,
Could you come to the podium?
like y'all couldn't hear me from back here.
I have to be consistent. Hi, Ray.
And it wasn't in disgust, it was in confusion.
Okay. So I'm like, talk to us, please. We don't want anyone to leave too
You
angry.
guys keep saying that you want to vacate your prior appointments.
Okay.
The fair board that is, or was there, was not an appointed board, it was an elected board.
Well, that's actually, it was elected, but it's still subject to appointment by the commission. That was one of the concessions that we made when the county took it over. So basically, there was an election, and then that was brought to the commission, and the commission acted on that and made the appointment. So the essence of it, because this is a county board, it has to be appointed by the commission.
Okay, so it was elected and then appointed.
Yeah, and we agreed to allow that process when the county took on the fair board. And that probably led, frankly, to some confusion, but we were trying to work with the fair board and allow them to keep, to the extent that they could, their autonomy. But that hasn't worked out as well as we had hoped, so we're going to do it differently.
Best laid plan. Okay.
So they elect the members to bring to us to appoint.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's the way we do it.
So we would certainly, if the commission moves forward with this, we would certainly need a motion to do away with or dissolve the election agreement that we have also.
Correct.
There's an election process.
That's good. Thank you for bringing clarity.
Thank you, Linda, for
Okay.
bringing that, because then it helps us to make sure that we have correct language in our motion so that there is clarity. Okay. Is there any further discussion?
No, not that I have.
So I believe that a motion would be, if you would maybe rescind your motion, Commissioner, and then make a motion to dissolve the current board and the election process that was put into place, and then you can subsequently do a motion to appoint a 5-member board.
I will rescind my motion, and I will make a new motion to dissolve the current fair board and the election process that has been done in the past.
Was that adequate, Council?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Do you think that this is significant enough that we should call for a roll call on this?
That's at your discretion. I think it certainly would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you. I will call for a roll call vote on this matter. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3, yes, we are all in favor and the motion does now pass. Okay, and now we'll call for a second motion. Would you like to bring that forward also, Commissioner
I would
Freiberg?
like to bring the motion forward to appoint a 5-member board with 1 alternate for the Torrance County Fairboard.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second to that motion?
If I could,
Yes, sir.
and that's going to be at-large appointments.
And at-large appointments, yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I will now call for a roll call vote. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3, yes. Let the record reflect that all commissioners voted in favor and the motion does now pass. Is there any other action items that need to take place in regards to this, or do we just direct?
We need to make a motion.
On the letters and.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that should be for
Okay,
Okay.
would you like to handle that one also?
Sure. I move that we ask for letters of interest to be submitted to the Torrance County Administrative Officers by the 23rd of October and the 24th, to ask that all people that submitted a letter of interest appear before this commission and the appointments be made on the 24th of October.
What time? Is that an evening or a day meeting?
It's a 6 o'clock in the evening meeting.
Okay.
It's our last meeting for the winter.
And that's a convenient time as well, so that works out. Okay, thank you.